you know, this is an exciting time. A really exciting time. Alright, got mulligan the one-lander. Let's keep this. I think I'm putting back Ragavan number 2. I could put like Bolt. We're playing against a non-companion deck, but maybe that's not relevant anymore. Yeah, Hammer plays Kaldra. Hammer should, I think, in my opinion, play 1 Kaldra, 1 Nettle Cyst, and then like for sure you play those every single time now, I think, and then like situationally you might play a sword every once in a while, but not that often. Maybe a Batter Skull and some really weird metagames, but you know, I can't really imagine what that would look like. Yeah, you can play Teferi the Time Raveler in that deck. Okay, we're playing against Living End, and Ranger-Captain is obviously a really nice addition for this matchup. Well, I would have liked my opponent to draw that one. I'm grabbing a Shadow, I'm pretty sure. Sorry, Panda, I know. You've waited years so patiently for me to even think about Esper Shadow again, and I finally did, and I'm just playing Mardu instead. It might still happen. I gotta keep stringing you along. Yeah, DRC and Bubble are still gonna see a lot of play in Murktide. Like, yeah, those cards are absolutely not out of the format. I think people are mostly acting like they are because they want them to be, you know? That was Blue X Shot Pile. We went 0-2. I felt like maybe there was something there, but then we got kind of interested in this instead. I am going to the Hunter Burton, yeah. I've been to like the last like 5 or 6 of them. I'm excited to go to this one too. So I can cast Obosh next turn. I think that's probably going to be my plan since I can't grow the Shadow next turn anyways. Are Knight's decks still unplayable? Yes. I'm sorry, the Lurrus ban does not make Knight Tribal tier 1. Not yet, at least. How do you think Grixis Shadow will change? Well, we were looking at it earlier. There's a lot of directions to go. The deck is still really powerful, plays a ton of great cards. Like, I absolutely don't think that Shadow is dead. That being said, I do think that like defining the best build is going to be tough, and it's also going to be kind of boring because like the cards that you're trying to change are like, do I play 4 Street Wraith? Do I play Murktide? And the answer is almost definitely no. You know, like your decisions are going to be like really small, and they're just not going to matter that much. Is to be honest my read on Grixis Shadow, but the deck will still be good. We will definitely work on it. But I do think it's going to be one of the more boring things to try. Right, pretty easy sideboarding here. Who will keep Boros Angels in check now? That's a great question. I was Paper yesterday. I really enjoy playing Paper. Team tournaments are also my favorite way to play Magic. Just like you get to hang out with your boys all day. You get to laugh and talk. Like talking about the games is really fun when you have your friends watching, or you're watching your friends actually play the game instead of just like hearing about it afterwards. Why no Murktide and Shadow? It's tough. Like one, it raises your curve a lot, and like if you're playing Mishra's Bauble and Street Wraith, like it's actually really tough to get your instant and sorcery count high enough for Murktide Regent. It also means that you're like, you know, like Kroxa is also like kind of a similar effect in Kroxa is a similar effect for Shadow compared to like Murktide, and like, you know, you lose that, which is not nothing. It is and it's also like blue is a nightmare on the mana. The blue from Murktide is super challenging. It's like absolutely like not something that the current iterations really want to be doing. They have like their deck is like entirely red and black 1-mana spells, and then like you can easily facilitate a blue splash for, you know, the 2-mana drown and iteration, and like casting and blue for Murktide is like really not free. Is Goyf playable again? Goyf has been good in Modern actually for a long time. Goyf is actually like since Modern Horizons 2, in my opinion, really made a big comeback. And I know that's maybe not the general perception, but that's been my experience. To say, yeah. I'd like to thank you for recording a video of you saying F Tony Chavez. Yeah, I played against an opponent at the NRG in Chicago, and I was asked to record a video saying "fuck you, Tony Chavez," and I did, and apparently Tony was devastated, but that's pretty funny. I don't know who Tony is, but it's pretty good bit, I think. Is Denial playable? You can, but it's not like as good as it used to be, I think. Now that like counterspells and Drown are in the format. So shout out to Tony. We love Tony Chavez, actually. It was all a clever ruse to test his resolve, but we actually love Tony. Okay, I have the turtle. How is playing Watergrave Steam Vents hard for the mana base of Grixis Shadow? Well, you just switch to blue lands instead of black. Let's take a look at the mana base for Grixis Shadow. Let's take a look at the mana requirements for Grixis Shadow. You have 24 red and black 1-drops. 24 red and black 1-drops. And so you really want to be playing Blood Crypt in your red and black in your 24 red and black 1-drop stack, which means that you're going to be fetching Blood Crypt on turn 1 really often to play a 1-drop into double 1-drop on turn 2. And it's not like you can never cast Murktide, but it is definitely the case that putting Murktide Regent is not free in this deck. Like a double blue spell is really not something you're looking for necessarily. Is Boros Stoneblade now better now? I don't know. Boros Stoneblade was pretty good against Grixis Shadow and the other Lurrus decks. We'll have to take a closer look at it. Also in Lurrus deck, most decks are basically the same. I mean, yes and no. I think things will change, but I don't think it's going to be a super crazy change. No third land. I guess we're going to cycle main phase. Hopefully they don't find a Cascade spell before we find our land for Ranger-Captain. Oh, though they can turtle back their agent, actually. Would Esper Shadow be something I already visit? Yeah, maybe. Why not go back to more blue-black build and not play Ragavan, DRC, etc. for TBR? Because the red cards are better than the blue cards. And, right? Like, Ragavan and Dragon Rage's Channeler and Expressive Iteration are busted. We did just build a blue-black version of Shadow, okay? Like, we built it because, like, that's, like, the only, like, you know, this version, Mardu version, and the blue-black version we did put together and play. Like, these are interesting ideas to test, but, like, you know, I prefaced that by saying, and you know, making sure everybody was on the same page, that the red cards are just better than the blue and the black cards. They're so perfect in the archetype. It's like it's just the reality too, you know. And so I think it's like fine to try, like it was, you know, fine to try the Dimir Shadow deck, but I really do expect Grixis to still be the best version. I would talk to Red Black Anvil. Not yet. That's something I'm going to need to spend a lot of time with. We might play Academy Manufacturer. We might play Goblin Engineer. And we might not. Like, it might just, like, the main deck might just not change much. So, and then, like, maybe play some 3-mana permanents in the sideboard. I don't know if the Lurrus ban is in effect, but Lurrus does get banned today. Thoughts on the Tri-Lands Company decks? Yeah, I mean, I played a Grixis control deck this morning. I played a Bant control deck over the weekend. Both of those decks were super hungry for triomes, and you know, I'm excited to get them in the format. Yeah, the Grixis Anvil deck, at least like the version that did play Lurrus, I think now pretty easily plays. The version that did play Lurrus now pretty easily plays Manufacturer as a Anvil target, as a Engineer target. But I also think the version that played Urza and was better than the version that played Lurrus anyways. So I'm not sure if like really much changes. Exparasites worth a slot with Ranger-Captain. I've played it in the past. I always like. So, like, yeah, I don't know. Like, before Modern Horizons 2, I thought the Hex Parasite was fine, and it was kind of like a necessary evil that you weren't like super excited to have, but it was kind of necessary, I thought. But I think my opinion has kind of changed now, where the power, like now you have Ragavan is another great one drop for Ranger Captain. The power level of the set's a lot higher. It's really, you know, you're post Modern Horizons 2, you are way more punished than you were for dead draws. Like, just because of how efficient things became a lot more efficient. Like, having a dead draw in your deck is pretty costly, and you know, I think that the deck's probably better off without the Hex Parasite. So let's lead them on Thoughtseize. If they have an answer for Ranger Captain, we'll play a second Ranger Captain. If they don't, we'll just play 2 Shadows. I've played Hex Parasite also as a Saga target, and it sucks. I really dislike it. If you could get it off Saga and then use that Parasite to save your that first Saga, then it'd be way better. But the fact that you have to have 2 Sagas for it to work, just like, I really dislike it. We consider playing Gurmag Angler and Grixis. Yeah, I think that playing a Gurmag Angler and Grixis would be fine. It is true though that like that it does compete with your Dragon Rage's Channelers and your Unholy Heats and your Kroxas. So it's not like your deck just doesn't use the graveyard, but it is true that it wouldn't be that big of an effect. So I took the Street Wraith here because if I don't take the Street Wraith, they could Street Wraith into a Sky Turtle or a Brazen Borrower or a 2-mana answer to Ranger Captain. But because their only cycler here is now Architects of Will, there's really like no way for them to deal with my Ranger Captain and Charlotte's Agent next turn, which should mean that my Shadows should be able to kill them next turn. Are we playing Swords and Stoneforge in the deck? No, I learned a long time ago that Shadow and Stoneforge Mystic just don't mix. Like, what's great about Shadow is how mana efficient of a threat it is, and Stoneforge Mystic is not a really mana efficient threat. It's actually a very mana inefficient threat, but it's good because it's kind of grindy. Is Tasigur Abzan midrange a viable option? No. Sorry. I don't like to say no very often, but it's just not gonna be as good as Jund or a lot of other variants, I think. Do you cut DRC and Bobble and Shadow without Lurrus and just add Delve Creatures and Street Wraiths? It's not that simple. We've been talking about this a lot. It's not that simple, as Murktide Regent is still awkward on your mana. And if you're playing Gurmag Angler over, you could play Gurmag Angler over DRC if you really wanted to. DRC might still be better than Gurmag Angler, and it's also absolutely the case that it's absolutely the case. I don't think we get Ragavan to Tash. I guess that's not really that relevant. It's absolutely the case that if you're casting Gurmag Angler, like, you know, and your opponent casts a Murktide Regent because they're playing blue-red, you're going to be kind of embarrassed. You're going to be kind of embarrassed that you're registering Gurmag Angler and your opponent's registering Murktide Regent. But Murktide Regent is not an easy addition to Grixis Shadow. Like, it is not just easily slappable in there. You know, I know that Tombstalker is easier on the mana. Murktide is not uncastable, but playing 4 Murktides seems tough. Maybe you just play less. And really, like, my point here, the point I'm trying to make, is that it's just not easy to say how, like, to build the Grixis Shadow deck. There's a lot of small nuances here that all have their own strengths and weaknesses, their merits. It is not as simple as, like, a lot of people think it is, I think. Ragavan makes treasures, which helps. Yeah, sure. Like, listen, Murktide is castable in the deck, but it will be awkward a big chunk of the time, or like enough of the time that I'm worried about it. I think I take the creativity since they have 2 removal spells. Obviously, my Shadow probably just trades with the removal spell this game. 4 colors seems like the solution. Maybe. I will also say, like, the issue I have with Traverse, and you know, I'm not trying to shoot down every suggestion, but you know, I do have thoughts on this issue. Like, the issue with Traverse is, like, Traverse used to be good because there were not a density of good threats to get with it. Or sorry. There were not a density of good threats to play in a deck like Shadow. Like, you had Shadow and you had Tarmogoyf and you had Gurmag Angler as options. But usually you didn't want to play Goyf and Angler together because they were kind of awkward, and you didn't want to play Traverse and Angler together. So it was like really any way you built it, you really had 12 threats, counting Traverse or counting I guess Gurmag only had 8 threats, but you were threat light is my point. You were threat light no matter how you built it. And Traverse helped that issue of being threat light. But now that you have Ragavan and Dragon Ridge's Channeler, you have a huge density of good playable threats, and so I really don't feel like the need for Traverse is there. And like, when you have a ton of really good playable viable threats, it is true that all of a sudden you're going to be like just casting an extra mana for a threat when you Traverse, which puts you behind on mana, which is not great in your Shadow deck. So that's kind of my issue with Traverse. Stream Decker is probably down. It's down all the time. If Origin too many, 1 copy can be exchanged with 1 Disciple of the Ring. Good comment. Love Disciple of the Ring. So again, just like a little thought on Traverse. I'm not saying that you can't build the Shadow deck with Traverse, but this is the issue. Is that, like, you know, it's, I think, probably just better to play a threat instead of Traverse. Well, Storming Entity, again, Rise in Prowess. That's not my prediction, unfortunately. The issue with Storming Entity was not Lurrus. The issue still is... Unholy Heat and Solitude, and to a lesser extent, Fury. Like, before, Storming Entity was great because it was just, like, very difficult to kill. When Fatal Push, Lightning Bolt, Skyclave Apparition were the main removal spells in the format, and the reality is those are no longer the main removal spells in the format. I should cycle. Unfortunately, they exiled my Spyro. Okay. Oh, I forgot to Obosh. Sorry, chat. Yikes. Sorry, I mean, it's tough. Like, I mean, I think talking about this kind of stuff is maybe a little more important than... I mean, focusing on the gameplay is important, but... at least you understand why I'm so distracted. Thanks, Plane Shift. Thank you for that. Cool. Good luck on your recovery. Glad to see you catch the stream. How did the team tournament go? It went pretty well. It was a lot of fun. We did lose 2 win-and-ends for top 8, which is a bit of a bummer. Playing Yorion on paper was also way worse than I thought it would be. But I had a good time. Is Kroxa still a thing in Shadow? Of course. Like, Kroxa is still like a very strong card. Shadow is like is a good home for it. I don't really foresee it leaving. I guess I'm casting Street Wraith. It's actually unblockable 6 power with the Obosh next turn. How bad is it to play Yorion? It was way worse than I thought it would be. I had to issue a formal streamer apology to everybody that I said, it's not that bad. You guys are all babies. It was bad. It was pretty bad. Like shuffling took a lot longer, and then it was like, you would be shuffling and shuffling and shuffling, and your opponent would be staring at you, and all you can see are their eyes because they have a mask on, and they're staring at you with hate in their eyes. And then you finally get done shuffling. They've been done for like 30 minutes, and then you present your deck to them, and then they shuffle it, they hate it, they're so upset. And then what do? You fetch on turn 1 and get an Abundant Growth, and the vein pops out of their head. They're fuming. It's just horrible. It's a really bad experience. Let's draw a lightning bolt. Oh, I have to discard the Obosh. Can I undo this? I guess not. Yeah, lightning bolt doesn't do it anymore. I've never seen this deck hardcast the Archon before. Get some info, I guess. I miss Lurrus already. Fulminator Mage. I think I want the Murderous Cuts. I think I don't want the endings. Go down to like one lightning bolt, maybe. I think I like the Fulminators on the play. Maybe I'll cut them on the draw though. And also, like, I was playing a control deck too, and so and it was exacerbated because it was a team event. But like, so many of my game ones, we would be in garbage time. My opponents could never win. It was like very obvious they could never win. I've got 3 planeswalkers, handful of cards. But because it's a team event, like, players are way less likely to concede and just go to game 2. Because, like, I in my opinion, and they're also like talking to their teammates and trying to figure out plans. And I just had I had so many matches where like it would just take an extra 15 minutes to win game 1, and I finished most of my matches in time or almost going to time 2-0. It took 50 minutes to finish two games in a match. And I did go to time. I did draw once, and I probably would have drawn a second time had my teammates not finished. Can teammates up with the match? They can, yes. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. How about his Rest in Peace for me? It's not that bad. I'll just take a creativity and use my Unearth now. I know they have 2 creativities, but I don't think I care that much about the Rest in Peace, and I have a lot of looks at a discard spell before they get to 4 mana. Can maybe put Obosh in my hand here. Did I ever ask my teammates for help with a decision? Not this time, but I have in tournaments in the past. And I should Seasoned Pyromancer. I need to find a discard spell. Actually, the Obosh is gonna be a little slow if they do hit runner lands. I did find the discard spell, although not really any reason to cast it now, I guess. How many of the guys that wrote for SCG will join Channel Fireball? I don't know. That's like not really a question for me as so much as it would be for like the people in charge of Channel Fireball. I hope some. That would be great, but I don't know. Ice the Ragavan, interesting. Star City Games laid off all of their writers and their content creators, or except for the Commander stuff. They left the Commander stuff, which is weird, right? But a bummer. And a lot of them are like trying to figure out what they're doing next, what their new plan are, and it's honestly just like very weird timing. I don't really understand the decision to lay off all the writers right before the tour comes back, because the tour just came back. Just very odd to me. All their competitive writers, yes. They let Apollo, Corey, Ross, Sam, everybody, yeah. But they kept, I believe they kept all the Commander content and none of like the competitive content. I'm working on my Keyboard deck. Is Detention still good at Modern? I think so. Detention very important against Saga tokens. Good against Rhinos. I like Deputy. I would definitely main deck one. Yeah, definitely over a second Skyclave. They have Sixth. think they F6 here. Cube condensate, yeah, I am. I mean, all we can do is speculate as to like why they made this decision. You know, I'm not someone who has any insider knowledge, of course, of the Star City Games workings. Just weird and sad. Dom is still on. Look at that. Dom is great. I'm happy that Dom is still there. Ping themselves? Hell yeah. Okay, on the draw, I don't like these Fulminators as much. Maybe it's okay. Maybe they're okay. But it's so bad if they Rin in 6. I think I'd rather just like play the rest of the bolts and play a giant killer, which I can kill Archons with, I guess. Yeah, I don't know if Nick is gone or not. What's NordVPN? Sounds boring and technical. It's actually a very cool and interesting VPN service that you can use to protect your internet privacy or access region-locked shows on Netflix. And they also offer, this is not something that I'm sponsored to say, but I actually use their password management software. NordPass is something I've actually used for years and like really like that service. But it's actually very cool and interesting service, not boring and technical. Thumb says TBD. Okay, thanks for the reporting, Shane. When I start doing elaborate ads for them, they haven't paid me to do elaborate ads for them. And it's also like I don't know why they would either. Like that's not what I'm known for. Okay, I can't cast these Rin and 6s, thankfully. To fairy. But I do, like you guys all know, I'm like pretty picky with sponsors. Nord is a sponsor that I do like. I do use their products, and I am excited and happy to be working with them. I think I'm gonna discard Godless Shrine, Lightning Bolt. Never mind. Can I be a sponsor? Probably not. Apex every 2 months. Plane shift with Twitch Prime. Thank you. Does Murktide become #1 deck? No. Here's the reality is there's, in my opinion at least, not going to be a clear #1 deck because of the Lurrus ban. I strongly doubt that is going to be the result of the Lurrus ban. Seems exceedingly unlikely to me. I also generally don't think the metagame is going to change super drastically. I think there obviously will be some changes, and some decks get to change, and those are going to be fun to explore. But I like Lurrus is not the kind of ban that's going to completely redefine the whole format. Really want to keep this Lightning Bolt up for their creativity that they have in their hand. And they're about to play next turn. But I can't play my Seasoned Pyromancer and do that. This is so tough. I guess I can go Shadow, Obosh in hand, hold up Bolt. It's a pretty hot take. A lot of cards would not even play because of Lurrus. That take, a lot of cards would not play because of Lurrus, is just Reddit propaganda. That's not true. Like there are a handful of cards in some decks that you play Lurrus over, but it's close. The idea that Liliana would rise again and become the queen of Modern, the undisputed format staple again, if Lurrus is banned, is not true. Is not true. Liliana was not that good before Lurrus. It's not that good after Lurrus. It is playable though. It's more playable than it was. You have like Cauldra and Nettlecyst over Lurrus, which was already like somewhat viable instead. Liliana, Seasoned Pyromancer. Like there's a handful of cards, but it is absolutely this Reddit take that there's tons and tons of cards that see no play only because of Lurrus. It's just not true. You know what I mean? Ranger-Captain, Skyclaves, Clothless Grist. Grist sees a lot of play. Ranger-Captain also sees play in Modern too. You know what I mean? So yeah, Skyclave Apparition is actually not very good in the format in general. It's not because of Lurrus. It's not because of Lurrus. It's Skyclave is bad because of like the threats being like Murktide Regent, Fury, Solitude, Ragavan, DRC, Urza Saga. Like the threats that are important to answer, Skyclave is not that good against. Skyclave is too slow against the 1-drops, doesn't exile Saga, doesn't exile the Saga tokens, doesn't exile Murktide. It misses just too much now. But yeah, I like Liliana a lot too. We all love Liliana. We want her to be the queen, but she's just lost too much power, too much influence. Will the Anvil deck play Mayhem? Now we'll see. We'll see. I'm gonna have to spend a lot of time on the Anvil deck. Ooh, let's see if they're playing my Bant control list, which is gotta be a bad matchup. I think I have to take the Spreading Seas. It's tough. The counterspell also wrecks me. It all wrecks me. Kogi with the 12 months. Appreciate you. I think one Nettlesis, one Cauldron is probably what I'd play in Hammer. Maybe two, maybe not, but at least one. Yeah, Lurrus is actually banned. This is not a meme. This is not a drill. This is not a meme. It's not a drill. It's not a dream either. Something in between. Three drops aren't back as Lurrus. 3 drops are back as Martyrs fast as fuck. I mean, that's not even true either. People act like people keep saying 3 drops are banned because of Lurrus, but you still see plenty of Teferi Time Rattlers. You still see plenty of Dryad of the Elysian Groves. You still see plenty of Omnaths. You still see plenty of Incarnations. You still see plenty of cards that are like what you really mean is my Jund mid-range deck is I can't play the exact Jund mid-range deck in Modern for the next 10 years, and that upsets me. I want to play the exact same 75 from Jund mid-range from 2015. I want it to not change ever. is what I hear. Are there new brew ideas I'm going to try that weren't viable with Lurrus in the format? Maybe. Honestly, not too many brews, but like just small directions to build with decks mostly. I have a lot to think about. It's it's an exciting time for sure. I think I'm gonna play the Death Shadow. This way they counterspell this instead of casting the Ice Wing probably. I haven't 33 months, but my precious Jund midrange. Yeah, I know. I love Jund midrange too, but like I just have to translate the comments sometimes. You know what I mean? I just have to do some translating. I'm the Jund player. I have no illusions, but yeah. It's fine. It is okay to have that opinion too. Like, that is a very popular and valid opinion to just want to play 2015 Jund midrange, but you don't need to, warp reality to justify your worldview. Okay, Teferi, Bounce Shadow. If we draw a white source here, we're not doing too bad, but if we don't draw a white source, we are doing too bad. Yeah, I'm really excited Lurrus is banned. I think that, I think that Lurrus is more worse for gameplay than it is for deck construction, but it does open up deck construction some. And it makes things more interesting and less repetitive. And I think that Lurrus being banned is a great change. It's something I've been advocating for a long time, and I'm excited to finally see it. And this is good. How about those popper bans? I don't even think I read them. I don't even think I read them. How good is the Bant Control deck? I really like it. My last 4 leagues I've played with the Bant Control deck, I've been 18-2. That being said, I played it in paper over the weekend, and boy, is it hard to finish a match in paper. I say this as someone who has a reputation for playing quickly. It is tough to finish a match in paper with the Bant Control deck. Not undoable, but tough for sure. Yeah, like people, I had to issue again a formal apology to all of my chatters who are like, Spike, I really like the Bant control deck, but I'm having actually a really hard time finishing my matches on time. And I was just offering like generic advice for control players, how to play faster, think about what to do on your opponent's turn. When you can't lose, don't spend time maximizing your decisions. Just play quickly. In a position where you can't lose, just take actions as quickly as possible. But holy shit, do Yorion decks it just takes so long to shuffle, and you shuffle so much. It's tough, dude. it was way worse than I expected it to be. How much better do you think Cryptic will get post-ban? Cryptic is still going to be playable in a handful of decks, but not that many decks. Like, I think it's still going to be a viable card in Reclamation and Jeskai Lotus Field and occasionally in a different blue control deck, but I don't think that the Lurrus banning, is the Lurrus banning is not all of your favorite cards from 2014, 15, 16 becoming tier 1 again. That is not what the Lurrus ban does. And I know that's what we all want it to be, And, we all want it to be unban Splinter Twin, ban the Horizon sets, ban Lurrus, ban Yorion. We're just playing 2015 Modern again, and everything's great. It's not what's happening, but it is going to be a good time, I think. Yeah, a Yorion deck without a fetch land seems way easier. Also, like more faster, like D&T. Yeah. So Grixis control isn't good again. I mean, I like Fran's Grixis control list that we were playing this morning. Retro, thank you 3 months. Appreciate you. was WotC bribing me to talk about Lurrus being fine, the biggest red herring, or were they listening to me? Were they reading between the lines? Huh? Yeah, make a playset of Tarmogoyfs $800 again. Does Yawgmoth gain anything from the Lurrus ban? Well, I think that Yawgmoth... Was this a turn 1 Shadow? We can play a turn 1 Shadow. But should we Thoughtseize instead? I think we should Shadow. Deck for 7 on turn 2. Why Gurmag over Tasigur? It lets you keep Obosh as a companion, and this deck also can't activate Tasigur's ability. 80 cards, by the way. This hand doesn't care about Spreading Seas that much. Just take the Verdict. Yeah, Yawgmoth was already good against Shadow and the Yawgmoth and the Lurrus decks. Is Tide the deck to beat now? I mean, it maybe already was. There's not a clear winner a clear and immediate winner from the Lurrus decks. Without just dunking on dunking too hard on everybody. I do think that while the popular opinion is that dude, I'm at 5 life. The Omnath decks are going to be tier 0. I think that's really not the case. They have counterspell, just put Obosh in the hand. Where Obosh, like the big part, like Omnath's role in the metagame was very much to prey on the Lurrus decks, and now that's just not the case anymore. So I think the reality is nobody really knows. Let's cast this. Nobody really knows what's going to happen. And it's just going to take some time and some testing and some love to figure it out. Can I play the Fulminator Mage here since this card does get weaker as time goes on? All companions should be banned. Yeah, let's ban let's ban Umori and Karuga and then Zerda and then Lutri first. And then we can see if we need to ban the rest of them. But let's just ban those first. Because, I don't know. I am pretty tired of losing to Umori, Karuga draws so many cards, it's so frustrating. The Lutri decks are so hard to play against. And my Lutri opponents are also having way more fun than I am, so I think, yeah, I agree that it's just kind of time for them to go. Yeah, it's such a hateful comment. Ban all companions. This is a comment that's been made with fear and hatred and despair, you know? This is not a comment that's made out of any kind of like rationality. You just hate them. Yeah, and you'll want them all dead. And who can blame you, you know? Who can blame you? But I you know, you guys got some blood today, right? You killed Lurrus, he's dead. And you can maybe just find it in your heart to spare the lives. Spare the lives of poor Lutri players, Umori players, Karuga players, who never did anything to you, you know? Okay, maybe the Karuga players did calibrate and blast you once or twice. Maybe that did happen. Who's to say? I'll be happy to jam Black Red Rock with Force Spiral. Yeah, we did 4-1 with Black Red Rock with Liliana and Spyro. I do think that the deck is worse with the Lurrus ban, of course, but the whole format's maybe a little less powerful. Black Red Rock with the Den of Bugbears feels pretty strong still. I was liking it. Ban Karuga specifically. So much hate in your hearts. And I can't. Who can blame you? You know. Who can blame you? What am I playing at 100 Burn? I don't know anymore. Things just got shaked up. I was gonna play Red Black Anvil, but I don't know anymore. Lurrus is female. I think I forgot. I remember now. Like I was loosely aware of it. The 100 Burn is this weekend. It's 100 Burn is a suicide awareness and prevention tournament in my hometown. It's a charity tournament series that's been running for like 7 years now. 8 years? I know that I've been to like the last 6 of them. I actually top 8'd the last one, which was last year with Grixis Shadow, and it's definitely one I make time for every year. Yeah, I agree that like it is like it's been really boring that to have Lurrus revealed every single game. Who could argue with that? You know what I mean? It is boring that Lurrus got revealed so much. It is boring, and it's boring to have it show up so much too. Edgar? Yeah, Edgar is now actually broken, I think. How did Mireless perform? We O2'd with it. I think it's probably not as good as Grixis. I may like tweak it a little bit. We may return to it, but we O2'd with it, and then I got pretty excited to try out this build. Oh, I should have targeted the floodplain, obviously. But I was excited to try out this build instead. I think this build has a bit more legs. How's the Mardu? Feeling pretty good. You know, we're 2-0 going to game 3 against a bad matchup. Is Fulminator Mage better than Charmal? I think because we're playing... oh, wow. I think that because we're playing Unearth, Fulminator Mage is better than Charmal, but it's at least close. I mean, yeah, with them missing their land drop, I'm definitely going to Unearth here. Why wait till upkeep? I guess I should have done it when they were tapped out. Didn't really matter too much. There wasn't some like big brain play there though that you're missing. Will Cletus make a glorious comeback? Okay, the new answer is actually yes. Your pet card from 2013 to 17 is now good. Yes, that is true. That is the new answer to all of these questions. Yes, your pet card. Alright, and in fact, just so nobody misses it, we'll go ahead and say yes, the Lurrus ban makes your pet card from 2013 to 2017. Good again. Oh, not 18. 17. Now everybody knows that that is the case, and we can move on. Okay, ending on a shadow. Okay, another shadow, which is nice. Play my land in case I hit another Spyro. I don't think I'm going to sack the Ranger-Captain. Main phase Ice Fang, no Death Touch, of course. I think they have to chump block this. No, not quite, actually.
What's up? It's me, your friend, Aspiring Spike.
Does it mean we can play Oko and Erogan? Yes, it does, actually. It does mean that. Okay, weird hand. Guess I'm taking Ending, attacking with everything, and doing my very, very best to not forget about Obosh. Scarab God time, hell yeah. Hell yeah, it is. It's always been Scarab God time. So is Asmo playable again? Never has been. As someone who's tried way too many Asmo decks recently, never has been, I think. Obosh has been pretty good so far. Three now? Let's keep this. Chris becomes black and can now kill a Sphinx of the Steel Wind. That happened. It just happened to me in Cube. That's awesome. It's correct. It's funny. Oh man, what a good day today, huh? Shout out to Esther also for fueling me up for the slightly longer stream today. Ah! Getting their last hurrah in. Getting their last hurrah in. I think I'm actually going to unearth my Ragavan. No, you can finish your league and cast Lurrus. It's, you know, it's obviously fine. But I'm missing their lands, and so am I. Miss your lands, and so will I. I'm gonna take the Channeler this way. They can't go land Channeler and get that sweet, sweet Surveil that they're missing. Yeah, I know. I'd love to see Doom. Doom was in the chat earlier. I would love to see. I hope Doom streams tonight. Is he in the chat? I don't see him. Yeah, I would love to see a Doom Wake stream tonight, though. Thanks, Chase. Good to see you in chat. They drew a... Oh, they're just going to double discard spell. It's actually very good here. Just getting to take both of my 3 drops. And then their hand is going to be just 2 mystery cards. I've got an Ending. I've got a top deck as well. Street Wraith is maybe a good place to start. Oh, no decisions here. Yeah, pouring out to Red Black Rock. So many Lurrus decks in the trophy race. Okay, not going to put Lurrus in their hand. Instead, is this Kroxa? Okay, Kroxa's fine. How long till Lurrus unban? The joke's already been made a lot today, so you're going to have to wait like a little bit for it to be funny again. But it'll come back around, I think. Yeah, I don't think I want to cast or dash the Ragavan and just have the Ragavan die to... or get discarded by Kroxa. Is Snapcaster playable again? Snapcaster's been playable. Snapcaster just won the Modern Challenge yesterday too. It's been playable. Like, but here people always talk about like Snapcaster. I'm not. There's no point to like give her in response. Just all their removals instant speed. People talk about Snapcaster and Liliana being playable again, and what they mean is are Snapcaster and Liliana going to be the absolute best cards to play if you're blue and black, tournament staples, huge forces in Modern? Yeah, no is the answer. It's not going to ever be that again, I think. But these cards are somewhat playable. You can put them in your deck; they'll be fine. Pretty sure I get a shadow. Like they're playable in some decks. In some builds you play them, but they're now other options. So they should bubble themselves probably, then see if they need to Lurrus in hand or not. So they're gonna play around some discard by just Lurrusing in hand. Great draw. Great draw. Yeah, the unbanned Lurrus joke has been told more than I expected it to be, which was already a lot. Yeah, time for Mind Goblin. I agree. Do you think they'll have to touch something for the 4-color deck? I really doubt it. So like this is again a pretty common prevailing opinion that the 4-color Omnath deck is now the best deck in the format. But what people, I don't think, really understand is that the role of the 4-color Omnath deck in the metagame was to prey upon Grixis Shadow, Jund Saga, the various Ragavan decks, Hammer Time, all decks that played Lurrus. And so, like, I don't think things are going to change that much. Or they're either not going to change that much, or like Omnath maybe even gets worse in the long run. I do think in the short run, more people are going to play 4-color Omnath. I do think that is going to happen. But in the long run, I don't actually expect Omnath to like be like this nutty, crazy deck. 4-color Demon Prey on Grixis as well. Yeah, I agree with that. I think 4-color was like a slight favorite in the matchup, but you know, it's hard for any deck to be like a crazy favorite against Grixis, or was. So we're playing against Red-Black Lurrus for the last time, maybe. One more time. Or one last time. I think it's one last time, how the song goes from Hamilton. Let's play like 5 discard spells, 1 Fortune, or 1 Relic. Don't need to get too crazy. Yeah, one last time. Get a drink with me one last time. Is Bauble now much worse than Lurrus Modern? I mean, it is much worse, yes. It's still also playable. Like, Blue-Red Murktide is still going to play 4 Lurrus, 4 Bauble, and still be like one of the better decks in the format. Some Affinity variants will play it as well. Some Brews will still play it. It's still like a pretty interesting, powerful enabler. Also Fury in the deck. I think Fury's a fine option. Fury's a card that I would probably want to see more of like the new metagame before including, but it is fine here. Okay, let's, I think, just put back, I should, maybe the Giver is too important to play on turn 1. Maybe we put back Unearth, Street Wraith. Not a great matchup to mold a 5 in. Should Burn still play Bauble? Maybe not. Maybe going back to Goblin Guide is good now. But I mean, Bauble's still good with DRC. DRC is still pretty good, and so go with Swift Spear. You'd have to just like test it like a lot more than I'm probably willing to. I think Murktide is a good idea to target 4-color Omnath. No, 4-color Omnath is great against Murktide. If you want to target, like the reality is, if you want to target the 4-color Omnath deck, you know, you're not going to have success doing that playing cards like or playing fair decks. Like you need to be playing decks like Titan and Belcher, and Wilderness Reclamation. Well, Wilderness Reclamation is one of the best matchups against Omnath, but you need to be going over the top of it. Like they're a pile of card advantage and creature removal and a powerful companion. And this is a really hard formula for like traditional fair and mid-range decks to beat, but there are plenty of linear decks that have great matchups against Omnath. Yeah, Burn is another good example. Although I always feel like whenever I played Burn, they always had the turn 4 Omnath and into fetch land. Whenever I played against them. But yeah, like people always like. Maybe it's just my chat because my chat's just full of mid-range and control players, but you've got to play a more linear deck to have a good matchup against 4-color usually. Is Banteract the way to go over Teamer? I don't think so. I did try it with March of Otherworldly Light, but like you just can't get away from Renin 6 in the Reclamation deck. We keep trying it. We just keep trying this. Where like a new card gets printed, and you're like, let's try Bant or sometimes Sultai or Simic Reclamation over Teamer, and you just Renin 6 is just too good to let go of. Is this a fresh brew, or did I find this? It is a fresh brew. The idea came from an old brew of mine that never got off the ground, where like I've just always been aware that like Black-White X Shadow is very close to playing Obosh or just can play Obosh, but this build like always felt a little bit worse than Grixis Shadow, or like a lot worse than Grixis Shadow, and it might still be worse. But with the Lurrus ban, I'm excited to like pick it up again. I was also like this. I also was trying Mardu Shadow before Modern Horizons 2 or Orzhov Shadow, and so it is definitely true that like Ragavan is like a really big upgrade for this variant too. That I haven't tested, but I did test like these versions before, but again before MH2. What is my opponent doing? They've been lightning bolting for like 2 minutes now. Death by Taco, 3 months. Is my pet card is it Viceroy now playable because of the Lurrus ban? Yeah, of course it is. I just got a free 100 play. Must be Lurrus. Feel bad compensation. Yeah, Lurrus is banned, Vimes. Do you think creature removal / graveyard hate main board will be reduced to the ban? I want some Storm to be good again. Not graveyard hate. Nobody plays graveyard hate to beat Lurrus decks. You may see a shift away from low to the ground creature decks a little bit, but I doubt it's going to be super. As long as like Ragavan is legal, I doubt people are not going to stop playing a lot of removal. I'm going to type test in the chat. Okay. Looks like they're DC'd. Do you want? Yeah, I mean, I think Liliana will see more play than she has. I think Liliana will be like, and I think John probably plays Liliana. Red Black Midrange plays Liliana. Maybe not though. Maybe not the full 4. But we did 4-1. We did just 4-1 a league with this deck with 4 Liliana, 4 Spyro, and Liliana's fine. But it's also true like maybe you just want to play Hizutsu consumes all, but the problem of course is like that's kind of awkward with Kroxa. So maybe you don't play Kroxa. Maybe the idea was like you want to board out the Kroxas and matchups. You bring this in. There's a lot. This is gonna be an exciting deck to explore. But maybe you go like 4 Spyro, no Kroxa, 3 Lily, 3 consumes all. Maybe you get Kolodon's command in there. There's a lot of ways to go. Kings with 4 months. Appreciate ya. How does Hammer change without Lurrus? Hammer should play, in my opinion, 1 Kaldra, 1 Nettlecyst in the main. Potentially in some metagames you'll want a sword, or like you'll convince yourself you'll want a sword and realize you shouldn't have it. But I think you should play at least 1 Nettlecyst, maybe 2, probably not 2, and the Kaldra. What's great about Kaldra in Hammer Time is that all of a sudden your opponent has to kill Stoneforge Mystic. In the Lurrus versions of Hammer Time, you can just ignore a Stoneforge Mystic. It doesn't matter that much. If they have Kaldra though, all of a sudden like Stoneforge Mystic is a must kill target, which is like a pretty nice thing for Hammer Time. Thoughts on 3 Sword of Fire, Ice, and Hammer? Guess we'd maybe have to add Fervent Champion. How does Fiddlebender look post bans? I don't think it's any different. Yeah, I don't know. You could maybe play a Sword of Fire Ice, but I think that for the most part, like you'll see people convincing themselves that you want a sword, but like between the Reality Chip and Nettle Cyst and Cauldra and maybe Plating, it's not like you really have that much room for a sword. But you could do it. And it wouldn't be bad, but it might not be better than your other options. I need to get some water real quick. Thoughts on Saga Ragavan decks post-ban? I think that, like... I could talk about it, but I think that they'll probably move away from Saga. Like, a big part of Saga in Jund Saga was that, like, you have, like, a mana sink in your Lurrus deck, which is pretty important to keep up with some matchups. But without Lurrus, like, I think it might just be better to be playing, you know, other 3 and 4 drops. Is Blue-Red Bits better than Burn again now? No, I don't think so. Again, the problem with Blue-Red is that Stormwing Entity used to be almost unkillable when Fatal Push and Lightning Bolts were the premier removal spells, but now with Unholy Heat, Solitude Fury, it's just so much easier to kill Stormwing. What do you mean Saga's unplayable? Oh yeah, they're joking. It's a joke. Okay, this Lightning Bolt's been on the stack for like 6 minutes. Surely we'll be scooping it up and going to our 5-0 match any second now, so we can get a 5-0 trophy prediction for our very first league with Mardu. Mardu Shadow. Prediction live. I think that you have to wait. I think it's 8 minutes in leagues for your opponent to lose due to inactivity. And I think it's been 6. Maybe somebody can refresh us. MTGO is kicking people with ban cards out of leagues. Oh, I think that's what happened to my opponent. I bet the Lurrus ban went live and my opponent got kicked out. Which is so fast. It's like, well, bizarrely fast, to be honest. It's also weird, like, why if they're getting kicked out, if that even is what's happening, like, why am I still having to play my match? The ban's already live? I think that's what's happening, yeah. I think that's what's happening. It's super fast. Good for, like I'm literally the only person that benefits from the ban being live this quickly. Because now I just get to stream in, like, the new format. But, like, I don't think it benefits almost anybody else. Opponent's also 4-0. Hi, thank you for Twitch Prime. I have never seen a ban go live this fast. I've never seen it happen. Thoughts on the Silent Clearness of Big Canyon? I think that our mana requirements are hard enough that we just need to be all fetch shocks and basics. I don't think that there's room. If you didn't think you wanted to play a 21st land, you could play one, but I really want 12 fetches, 6 shocks, 1 of each basic, to meet my very difficult requirements of red, black, and white on 1, and double white and double red on 3. Take a look at your Shadow. I can, yeah. Playing against Scales. Right, Street Wraith. Street Wraith, Sacred Foundry. Maybe good to play Blood Crypts. Yeah, I mean, I think Grixis Shadow is going to be really tough to... Oh. Well, just one problem is that we have to throw you in jail because you were a Lurrus player. You're going to go straight to jail. You're never getting out. Get him, chat. Right to jail. You revealed yourself to be a the worst thing you could possibly be, a Lurrus player. I gotta cast a Ravager? I don't think so. I think I need the treasure to be a white mana. No, well, for Tasigur. Well, Angler is better in this deck because you don't lose Obosh, and you also can't activate Tasigur in this deck. 50. We're gonna get squished. We do have a pretty comprehensive sideboard at least. Fetch land would be really nice. Okay, that's really nice. Okay, we can activate Tasker off the treasure tokens. Fair enough. Fair enough. Do I get Giver of Runes? Giver is actually probably pretty key. Pro colorless. Can play Shadow Angler next turn. No, I'm not playing Hex Parasite. Okay, we're playing at scales where Hex Parasite would be so freaking good. I know, but I think generally Hex Parasite's kind of underwhelming. Curlo, thank you for the 8 months. Appreciate you. The prediction's already done. You have to get there in like the first 2 minutes usually. Because it's like, it's not fair for you to do the prediction now that you know the matchup, you know, and you've seen how like the game one's playing out. Okay, 1 card in their hand. Probably shouldn't be doing this first. Oh, is it better for me to Obosh in hand? Yeah, it's gotta be better for me to Obosh here. Because I can just, there's like a pretty good chance I could just kill them next turn if I draw a fetch land or if they deal me any damage. Thoughts on Lurrus ban? Yeah. I've been asked about the Lurrus ban so far. I think it's a good thing. I've been in favor of a Lurrus ban since before Modern Horizons 2. I'm very excited about it. I think it'll be a good impact on the modern format, but I don't think it's going to be a drastic, crazy one where everything is totally different. I think that a lot of decks like this deck and a few others have interesting, cool ways you can change and build them that'll be fun to explore. But I don't expect the metagame to be drastically different. I don't expect too much to change. Okay, so my opponent is dead to a fetch land. And probably not anything else this turn. We are playing a lot of fetch lands. Yeah, we're playing full 12. Also, Obosh was actually better than Lurrus the whole time. Sack the Ranger. I mean, this is game 1. They have nothing. If I lose to like random main deck Path to Exile, I'll just lose. They'll cast it in response to Ranger anyways. No, Inkmoth is colorless. Well, I didn't think we were gonna win that game. Alright, Giant Killer, Wear Tear, Murderous Cut, Cutting, 7th Discard Spell, Gurmag Angler, Ragavan, Captain. Maybe I don't want the Giant Killer. Yeah, let's actually not play the Killer. Is Ending slightly worse? Yeah, Ending is slightly worse now, but it's still, like, obviously a great card. I did tutor Forgiver. It happened. Fulminator Inkmoth and Nexus, interesting. You have Wear Tear for... You have a lot of ways to kill those cards anyways. It's something to consider. I would maybe be open to you suggesting what to play it over. Right, Saga. Ward 2, you say? It's pretty good. Pretty good line of text. I think I'll play the Mountain this turn. Is Giant Killer really a playable mono card? Well, you can tutor it off your Ranger-Captain, and it is relevant against specifically Hammer Time, Murktide, and Reanimator, which I think is enough matchups to justify it as a one of. I guess Creativity, too. I do think I'll be revisiting Howling Mine plus Moon Snare at some point. That was like basically the only part of that deck I really liked. But I did think that part of the deck was like had potential. Let's cycle the Unearth. So I think I want to save the Prismatic Ending for the Hangerback Walker. And so my current plan is to hold up either Wear Tear if they play a different artifact I want to kill, or Lightning Bolt or Murderous Cut, the Patchwork Automaton. Just kind of depends on what they do here. Second Scales is pretty scary. Okay, so I can go. I think I should just bolt the. Oh no, the problem with this is that I probably can't let Ravager resolve and let Hangerback Walker stay in play, actually. I think I need to get a Plains and then fuse Wear Tear, killing Walker, killing Scales. Oh, then you get so many tokens, though. I think I don't have much of another choice. Might just have to settle this in game 3. Oh, I'm actually just dead this turn. Yeah, I'm actually just dead to the Ravager. Let's see if do they not see it? Yeah, they see it. Yeah, sorry, chat. The Ravager was just like too hard to beat there, I think, no matter what. Consumes All was great earlier. I was really impressed by it. Like every single time we cast it. Alright, game 3 on the play, all the marbles, all the clout on the line. I think this hand's a keep. Giver Shadow is really important in the matchup. We are very likely to turn 2 Shadow. This hand obviously really would like to draw land on the top 2, and we do just that, just like an absolute professional. Boseiju, Brushland, Saga, Ozlith, Hangerback Walker, Ravager, Ballista. Very strong hand. Very strong hand. I think I might like to take the Hangerback Walker and the Ballista. Yeah, I think so. It's kind of close. Ozlith. I think the Ozlith doesn't matter as much if I can take... Oh, sorry, Simplest. I meant Ravager. If I can take Ravager Walker, the Ozlith is not as powerful. I could also just play Giver Shadow this turn. It's probably fine. Couldn't you bolt the 3/3, draw Wear Tear, the Arcbound, and Prismatic the Hangback? Draw Wear Tear. Arcbound, Prismatic the Hangerback. The problem is if the Ravager resolves next turn, they just get to it costs 3 mana to kill the 3/3. If Ravager resolves, it's over. It's just immediately game over, man. Nice draw. Yeah, it's weird that they're playing both Patchwork and Smith. I mean, both cards are fine, obviously. The game's not over yet. It is looking pretty good, though. I mean, it's just first match. We have run pretty hot, but this deck has not been bad so far. I'm probably gonna need to start colorless protection from colorless on the Shadow. That's what we draw. Pretty good draw. Do you have any other brews of mine post Lurrus? I mean, yes, but it's just going to take some time. I'm going to be very busy. Oh, no, I can't play any Elden Ring tonight. I'm going to be too busy. It's fine. Careful not to die to Walking Blister Ravager. I don't think we can... I have no removal spells in my hand, so I don't think I should play around it. I think I should just try to kill them. Yeah, someone was suggesting Aether Grid in the Howling Mine deck. I didn't think it sounded that good, but I did think it was possible. Okay, so here they can Zabaz, counter on the Ballista, Ozlith, counter on Ballista. That's only 3 counters, though. Welding Jar doesn't change much. They can kill my Giver of Runes, and then they can have a 1/1 Ballista. They'll be at 8 life, but then they can block, shadow, kill, elemental token, take 2. It's not something that they do, though. Obviously good for me that their hand's just a land. Ghost, thank you for the 3 months. I haven't tried Heist and Tap yet. Hopefully I do at some point. Okay, so if I dash Ragavan, Pro Colorless, they go to 2. Then they have to deal with both the Seasoned Pyromancer and the Ragavan, but it's pretty easy for them to just go block Seasoned Pyromancer, block Ragavan. What? Oh, they can only put 1 counter on the Ballista, actually. I think I have an attack with everything. I know it's kind of complicated, though. I think dash Ragavan, they block Spyro, Elemental. Yeah, I think I've got a dash. They have Jar. Oh, right, the Jar. Okay, so they go block, Jar the Ballista, and then they do kill me on the Crackback. Attack for 3, ping me for 3. Okay, so I think I just have to Pro Colorless, then play Ragavan on D and pass. And we lose to exactly Ravager. I don't think we lose to any other card. I really want to trophy and post a hilarious tweet saying that Obosh is the new Lurrus. Flo, thank you for 8 months. Appreciate you. The Descales too. Yeah, you're right. The Descales. They play the pathway we know about. Shatter. Why? Wait. No, it's 1 short. It's 1 short. I think. He has 5 counters. It's 5 counters. They can kill. They use 4 counters. Yeah. Oh man, thank you for chat lethal, huh? Og, thank you for 9 months, appreciate ya. Let's go! Trophy first league with Obosh Shadow. I mean, I don't know how good the deck is, but we get to tweet. I don't know, it seems okay. Like, I'm actually really excited about this list because I've had this in my like back of my mind for the longest time that like White Black X Shadow just gets to play Obosh pretty freely, but it's just never been better than the Lurrus variant, and now Lurrus is gone. So like, you know, this is kind of the exciting stuff that can happen with a Lurrus ban, I guess. I think we'll play one more league with this.